was they'd go for a fight or two, and it just would not come. It would not work out for Newbee because LGD Wayless was able to bait in a few picks with the massive shields coming out of him. Athene's Unholy Grail really making it happen for them.
And there we go, the bans have already been flying through. LGD take away Vladimir as their first ban. Poppy is the second ban coming out from their Newbee. They take away the Kog'Maw, they don't want him to have that champion, and now they ban out the Karma. Something they've done against multiple teams all season, and they finally learned they don't want Wayless to play that champion again. Twist of Fate will be the third ban that comes out from LGD, and it should be a Rumble ban that comes out from Newbee as the third and final ban.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how Newbee now look back at that initial war we saw between
Actually was not able to give LGD the victory. Game 2 on Trunda was phenomenal. Game 3 was able to hold his own quite effectively, even though all the resources that Newbee had available were thrown towards the bottom lane. Shannon Hecarim still left up and available, something that Newbee could definitely look towards picking up. If not, LG will most definitely do so.
I think we saw the best out of Newbee when they did have their Nidalee and Braum. Mostly because once you pick Nidalee, we've seen from Dottie that he can play an incredibly good Talia. And Talia and Twisted Fate share the same idea.
Certainly do, but Newbee decided to go back to their roots and pick up Gnar away from Marin. V had a great game on the champion game number 1 against LGD. And they have not played the champion this split in the LPL, so looking for a second Gnar game. Something teams do a lot against Marin to deny him that top lane pick.
Yeah, so the Gnar pick is going to mean a lot. He actually V had a great showing on Gnar in his first game, able to do so much and show a lot of great mechanics on the champion just the same. So I love the pick coming out of them. I do also like Hecarim. I guess they're fairly confident in the fact that LGD won't pick the Nidalee for them. So if they do get the Nidalee, then of course Hecarim will have a fairly hard clear for himself. But regardless of that, pick up the Hecarim, pick up the Gnar, you got yourself a strong team fight.
Also means that they're not going to be able to first pick Braum here in Champion Select, so Newbee will not get the option of having that support. LGD look like they want to try and take it away, but for now they've already locked in Rumble in the top lane from Marin, a champion that's been banned out against him time and time again. It is their most banned champion against LGD as well. They're very frightened of Marin's Rumble in the top lane, and they do lock in the Braum for PYL.
It's interesting because, as you said earlier, that Newbee left up Gnar and Rumble, both champions that pick composition coming out of Jin, but at the same time, amazing team fight.
Still waiting to see what LGD are going to pick up as their final 2 picks. They're missing their jungler as well as a mid laner for Intruder as well as Wayless. And let's see what they decide to pick up. On the flip side, Newbee have their last pick left for their mid laner. Seems like we're going to get a Corki game again here, Raz. We've seen Wayless play this once before, and it was a victory for LGD when he picked up the champion. And he's going to be taking it to the mid lane once again. They will have Graves heading into the jungle for LGD.
Yeah, he had MVP on that game, just the same. He was probably 7-0 and something. He was doing an incredible good job in that game, able to carry his team through. And that was up against RNG. So that was their only win that they had up against RNG, and it was off the back of the Corki pick. I didn't like it then because, of course, even though he had the proper matchup, though this time it's going to be blind. But back then he had the proper matchup. He only got the kills snowballing in his favor because MLXG and Xiaohu decided to just randomly 1v1 him when he had exhaust up.
Dade does have his pick of choice now to take into the Corki matchup in the mid lane. Seems like he wants a repeat performance on this Talia since Twisted Fate has been banned out in game number 4 here. But opts to swap at the last second, and we're going to have another interesting pick heading into the mid lane as we will see Dade pick up Yasuo in the mid lane.
That's what I'm talking about. Get yourself some Dade Yasuo. Call your friends. Call your homies up. It's time for Dade Yasuo. He's an incredible player on this champion. And on top of that, it is a good matchup for Yasuo. Give him that 80 carry matchup. He can look to outplay at all times. It's going to be a little bit of a difficult time for him to farm early on, but once he gets his items, it's definitely going to be interesting to go up against 380 carries.
Combos out beautifully with the Gnar ultimate as well, as we will be heading into this match shortly. 2 very unorthodox picks heading into the mid lane for these 2 teams. Wayless picking up his Corki, a champion he has brought out in the LPL once before. Dade going to be playing Yasuo here, going to be bringing it back into the LPL. He's been playing it a couple of times this split so far. I believe all of them have resulted in victories for his team.
Yeah, it's funny because this is definitely a promotion match coming out of LGD and Newbee, but it has the feel of a dream match.
Well, let's see if we can get into this dream match. We head on to Summoner's Rift for game number 4 between LGD and Newbee. We're heading on to Summoner's Rift for game number 4 between LGD and Newbee. It's match point for LGD. One more win will all it takes for them to head back into the 2017 spring split of the LPL. Newbee, they've got to climb back and get a reverse sweep here, so to speak. Pick up 2 more games for themselves. It's actually Dade getting jumped on nice and early. Concussive blows is going to land, but he gets underneath his turret nice and early. Flash already burnt for this Yasuo in the mid lane. Speaking of the mid lane, we have an interesting matchup here, Raz. One that you don't usually see in competitive play as of recently. It's going to be Corki going up against a Yasuo.
Yeah, definitely don't see that anywhere in the world. Corki going to be picking up the Thunderlords up against the Warlords coming from Yasuo.
There's still action going on, Raz, here, because Imp, he's been acquired taste by More here, looking to try and get even more down towards PYL. Both 80 carry support opted not to use their summoner spells, so they're nice and healthy, and we'll be able to head back into the bottom lane relatively easy.
So we're also seeing double exhaust from both laners. Big point about this is that now that Yasuo did have to burn Flash, he's going up against a Graves, which we've seen so many Thunderlord's Graves get a early level 2 gank into that lane. He has to have to watch out because, especially as a melee champion, if he does walk in, he'll immediately get exhausted and just auto-attacked to oblivion.
Seems like both junglers will be starting on their red buff. In fact, Marin has a thing or two to say about this one. It's going to be burning through V and Swift, doing what he can to get damage down on towards the top laner, and jungler actually winning this trade so far because he's got red buff on his side. Overheats, Flame Spitter back down on towards V, trades against the top laner nice and early. Gets a little bit of chip damage on towards Swift as well, but it's not able to stop him from taking the red buff down.
Yeah, great adaptation to that two-man red buff that we've seen throughout this entire set.
As you can see in the bottom lane, Imp and Happy actually trading back and forth. PYL takes a lot of damage from the trade as the crit shot comes out from Happy, but a Graves is coming down for a very early gank on towards Tahm Kench as well. As the Jhin, crit shot comes out again. Moore has to be a bit careful. Winter Spike comes out, slows him down. Concussive Blows coming out as well. Exhaust has been used. Moore has to flash away. Heal used by Happy as well to keep his support alive. But a good gank very early from Intruder forces the summon the spells out of Newbee's bottom lane.
Yeah, great gank. 3 for 2 in terms of sums. Really does work out for Imp.
As Dade and Wayless trade aggressively back and forth in the mid lane. Both mid laners starting with a Doran's Blade heading into this matchup.
You have to watch out if you're in this bottom lane for Newbee now. Moore is going to be the main focus. Does not have an exhaust, does not have flash. If he does get a repeat gank going for him, it's not going to be alive.
Top side of the map, V going up against Marin's Rumble. Did take the Gnar away from Marin. But he's very comfortable with these two champions. The fact that he's signature champions in the LPL at the moment.
Yeah, it's like he's looking in a mirror currently in his lane. It's like, but I'm Marin. What's happening?
Meanwhile, mid lane, Dade did blow his flash at level 1, but he's being very aggressive on towards Wayless here. Wayless will return the favor. Wind Wall comes down. Wayless just steps over it casually. But it seems like Dade's winning these trades fairly early to start things off.
Yeah, the trades will be going in favor of Dade. Now, he does not have flash, but he's still able to get those trades whenever he wants. The wind wall will be a major point for him in these fights, but for him in these skirmishes all the same, because he's going up against Intruder, he's going up against Wayless and Imp, 3 ranged AD carries in on the side of LGD. So whenever he does throw up that wind wall, a lot of damage will get negated.
We have Imp doing what Imp does best, which is push waves underneath his opponent's turrets as Happy and Moore forced to farm underneath the safety of their own turret. Intruder now clearing out the Grom camp on the top side of the map, looking to try and see if he can make his way towards the top side brushes and see if he can get a gank off towards V, who is turning mega shortly. Dade still farming up quite well in this mid lane, slightly ahead in terms of CS ahead of Wayless, and his flash will be back up in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, Intruder was just in the top side to look for a counter gank at the moment. Rumble is constantly shoving in this lane. One of his main weaknesses that he really cannot control it. So Hecarim paying him a visit does mean a lot.
Marin not going to connect with the harpoons there. Means that he can't slow down Swift, and the pink ward will successfully be put down into the pink brush, or pixel brush, I should say. Dade still being very aggressive towards Wayless here, constantly diving back and forth, landing those tornadoes to try and get extra damage on towards Wayless. He's at full health as well. His flash going to be back up. He's looking very confident on his Yasuo in this match. Bottom lane again, Moore just happily eats up Happy every single time Boomerang Blade comes out from Imp, trying to mitigate as much damage as he can away from his AD carry.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth trading. Jhin is fairly behind at the moment.
Yeah, he's about 20 CS behind. It's being mirrored slightly in this mid lane. Wayless will pick up a lot of CS that's being pushed in towards his turret by Dade, but he's still about 10 CS behind the Yasuo.
Yeah, so not a good lane for Wayless at the moment. He's looking to just look to farm up because he cannot trade. It'll be a little bit easier once he does get 6 with his rockets. Looks like we're bringing in 3 people here.
Yep, let's see if they can get the gang on towards Dade. He does have his flash back up and available. Will flash away nice and early. PYL follows up. Winter's Bite will get cancelled out by the wind wall. Very aggressive on PYL. On the top side of the map, though, Swiftness goes on towards Marin. He's already used his splash. He's vulnerable. V going to be able to pick up the kill on the top lane. It's actually Swift that's able to take the one down.
Yeah, incredibly vulnerable. I said that before, and Marin does fall down. He constantly shoves up, even if it's in the middle portion of that lane. He's going to get chased down and demolished. So it's already starting for Marin.
Already, Newbee, off to a good start in this match. Happy, looking to try and get some damage down towards him. Particularly spell shields away the bouncing grenade No damage will come out from Happy. He's out of mana as well. As V being very aggressive on towards Mara on the top side of the map. Intruders coming down here. There's the Rumble Equalizer. Might not even need him up here because Flamespitter's doing so much damage. Marin gets a solo kill onto V in the top lane.
Yeah, V did not know what he was getting himself into. He thought he had Hecarim in his back pocket. Started that engage rather early. Did not work out for him because it didn't even matter. He just completely died 1v1.
Yeah, Marin had the buy advantage as well. V thought he had him. Nars him into no wall, so no stun comes out him. Marin's just like, okay, I'm going to light you on fire and you're going to stand on my equalizer for as long as you possibly can.
He just did not expect the damage coming out of Rumble, but you have to. We talk about Marin knowing how to play Gnar incredibly well and manage the bar, but there is a bar for Marin too. The extra damage coming out of his Flame Spitter does mean a lot, and so you're going to have to feel the brunt of that burn.
Especially when he overheats and gets a couple of auto attacks down. Swift is going to get his red buff taken away by Wayless. Even had Smite available, but the cheeky Corki runs in and throws a phosphorus bomb down to pick up that red buff.
He just does this every time. This happened in the first game, I'm fairly certain.
He was killed him.
Syndra.
He took the red buff and killed him in the first game.
Took the red buff, killed him. This time he's like, oh, I can't kill you. I don't have that much of a combat power. I will take the red, though.
I will outsmite you without a smite. Dade looking to try and pick up his sweet Project jacket by playing a Project Yasuo game here on Dade. But here's a curtain call. Imp now has to try and run away. Swift going to be collapsing on top of him. Good flash from the Sivir gets him back to safety. LGD want to try and turn this one around. More will be locked up by the concussive blows. Exhaust goes down onto the Sivir to stop the extra damage coming through. Tahm Kench will heal up nicely, but there goes a flash forward. Trying to get the snipe up on towards More, but he's back to the safety of his turret. Intruder was really looking for a pick there.
Yeah, and a great trade Intruder did, actually. Even though he burned his own flash to get that burst through, he ended up burning the heal out of Happy, and on top of that, the flash from More.
Well, Wayless now has his package available, so that signals time for LGD to look towards contesting this Dragon Pit. And Infernal Dragon again. And LGD, they've got other things on their mind. Happy's got to be careful. Package has been delivered. He just Valkyrie's back out of there. Even gets the heal out of him. And Wayless picks up a kill on towards Newbee's bottom lane.
A special delivery indeed. Definitely caught him. Double red buff on Wayless and Intruder. So that kill was a certainty.
And this is 6:15, so there's a quality life buff for Corki as well. His package is now only on a 4-minute cooldown, as opposed to the 5 minutes that he previously had after he picks it up for the first time. As he Swift moves down to the bottom lane, trying to protect this bottom lane outer turret from the double AD carries of LGD's lineup. They do not opt to go and try and take down the Infernal Dragon that spawned first here, but it would definitely be something that these two teams would be looking towards.
And if you didn't catch the first Corki game from Wayless, this is a good one to start because remember, Corki was a champion that was meta not so long ago. The biggest strength from him was his package, ability to really take any fight coming at you, to force people away from their jungles, to force a dragon fight in your favor. Package means a lot.
And that's really what we used to see Corkis be used for. Force a dragon fight, because you pick up the package around the time you want to fight for dragon. When dragon respawns, you have the package back up again. They don't opt to go for the Infernal Drake this time around, but they do usually get a pick in the bottom lane. And that quality life buff means they can pick it up in about 3 minutes time now and trying to contest for another objective.
Yeah, and so people do not, I don't want to say that they don't value the package enough, but it does mean a lot for Corki, and especially in this game. Because even if it comes down to the fact that Newbee just concedes everything when the Corki package is available, then that's just a free dragon for LGD whenever they really do want it.
LGD now slightly ahead in terms of goal, but Newbee are holding on well in this match. Still very early in the game to decide who is ahead, so to speak. Dade still doing well in this mid lane. He's about 20 CS up ahead of Wayless, even forcing him to use the Valkyrie nice and early there. Just by threatening, by dashing on forward towards the minions. Wayless will be able to farm safely from a distance now that his rockets are up and online.
Now, the question is, what is Wayless going to build on this Corki? We have seen a lot of AP, mostly Hextech Gunblade, as we get a skirmish.
Dade's getting jumped on here. Exhaust is already used very early from Wayless, so that's been negated by Dade just staying safe. PYL flashes aggressively forward again, only gets the ultimate down on towards Swift. Dade is still the one they're hunting and chasing down after. He's just running them across Summoner's Rift. Marin even teleported into the bottom lane. We'll be able to find him this time round. Has the flame sort of forces the flash out of Dade to go over the red buff wall. They chase him from bottom to top and finally burn his Summoner spell.
Yeah, all they really wanted to do was force him to take the longest way possible. Meanwhile, Imp is just hammering down on this mid lane tower. So the longer they have alone to this tower, of course, the more chip damage. That's working out really well for them. They weren't really looking for the Dade's life. The flash is great, though.
Even gets Imp to rotate down towards the bottom side of the map faster than happy, so we're going to shove that wave in towards Newbee's turret. This way, this gets a little bit of breathing room against Dade in this mid lane now that Dade's flash is back down.
So yeah, we're in a position where now Dade is at a disadvantage, only has the Zeal. We're going to see what he does go back to pick up. But we see Sheen and a Magic Pen Boots coming out of Corki. Honestly, Corki, the build that we have been seeing, a lot of really strong through solo queue, but mostly in the last game too, just been in that Hextech Gunblade. He'll pick up that Gunblade, does a lot of damage, a lot of utility obviously, and then he did go for Void Staff later on, so he goes primarily quite a bit of AP.
He also gets a lot of, I wouldn't say lifesteal, but a lot of recovery in his health whenever he does damage to champions.
A lot of sustain for him.
A lot of sustain will be coming out for Wailers once he picks someone up. For now, though, LGD are looking to try and take down this Infernal Drake. Teleport's coming in. Newbee are going to give up the Dragon, but looking for a fight. V is almost heading into Mega Gnar. Happy's low, but it's gone into Curtain Call. Immediately has to back out due to a boomerang that comes out from it, but there goes V. Gets a double Gnar to the wall. Rumble Equalizer on top of everyone from Newbee, though. But that's PY on Imp to fall down first. Marin's in the back lines. Can't take down Swift. Has to flash away from the Deadly Flourish. But still, they trade the Infernal Dragon for 2 kills that land onto V.
Yeah, an amazing ulti from V that really did put the nail in the coffin of that team fight. So now, question is, what are they going to get out of it?
For now, it just seems like it's the 2 kills, and the gold leads slightly in Newbee's favor as Dade just heads back towards the mid lane, goes to farm up. He's been sitting on this deal for quite some time, and he's about 30 CS ahead of Wailer, so it's about time he heads back to base and gets a couple more items for himself.
Probably going to end up finishing it up, get that Phantom Dancer going for him. Actually going for this. Yeah, there we go. So Phantom Dancer and the boots to shoot. Really nice coming from him, a perfect back timing. He's going to be able to take any skirmish really coming towards him. So honestly, Newbee's just happy that they were getting the gold from those 2 kills. That's all they really want, because their win condition does come through Yasuo getting his items. And on top of that, the Trinity Force coming out of Hecarim. So once they do start to hit those item spikes, the next dragon play, the next dragon fights will be theirs.
Still gold's dead even between LGD and Newbee. There have been a couple of really close games in this match. Wailer's actually going very aggressive on towards Dade, who misses his ultimate there. Not his ultimate, it's Tornado. And V now looking to try and engage on towards Marin. Swift's moving as well. Hextech Protobell gets him out of range for now. V now trying to dive underneath this turret, but slows coming out from Marin, keep him nice and safe. Only the ultimate being burned by Swift in that engagement.
And that would be the first tower of the game, first blood gold going to LGD.
Dade looking to try and get engaged on towards Wailers there. Will miss his tornado again as Wailers uses the last bit of his mana to dodge away from Dade. Still being relentless in pressure here. Has another tornado up and ready. So he's been playing the laning phase incredibly well so far, Dade.
Yeah, and he did get the 2 items that really will now put the ball in his court. Being able to negate the damage coming out of the autos. With the shoot,
that's aggressive. Like more looking to try and collapse on towards Intruder.
That's not gonna happen.
Curtain Call comes out as well. Newbee, they want to kill this guy.
Yeah,
they're not happy.
Yeah, they're not happy. All right. I feel like that pun whenever it comes through. You didn't even do it intentionally, but it just doesn't even matter. That just makes it funnier.
Newbee now going to have to retreat from the top side of the map as well as LGD send him towards the top side. Looking to take down another outer turret. They did get the first turret gold like you mentioned, Raz, and looking to try and continue having that turret lead. Wailers again getting jumped on by Dade, just misses everything because this guy's just dashing in and out. Threatening every single time.
Yeah, he's actually everywhere at once at this point. Dade is incredibly fast when he has the wave going for him. And on top of that, he will take no damage. Decreased damage coming out of his Phantom Dancer. Decreased damage coming out of his boots. So, yeah, the trades will go in his favor.
He's got Wind Wall as well to mitigate as much damage as possible in this mid lane. Yasuo farming up a Storm, and Wailer still waiting to complete his Trinity Force as his first item. Finally, the top lane turret will fall in favor of LGD. Imp tries to hold it and make sure as many minions die as possible first. It's a 2-0 turret advantage in favor of LGD at the moment. Whalers heads over towards his blue buff, picks that one up for himself, so we'll be able to farm up a little bit more successfully in this mid lane. But still, a relatively quiet stage of this match. LGD now 2,000 gold ahead of Newbee. But still a very close game between these two teams. Like we mentioned, LGD, they're at match point. If they win this match, they will be back into the LPL for the first split of 2017. Newbee, they're not done and dusted if they lose this because they still have a chance by playing against Starhorn Royal Club in a couple of days to try and promote back into the LPL. Even if they do pick up a win in this series, that means LGD will have the chance to play against Starhorn Royal Club to try and get back into the LPL as well.
Yeah. And so right now, I feel like it does come down to the execution of these team fights. With triple AD carry, you can definitely... Ooh.
It's Marin actually getting jumped on by 3 people. He's looking to try and pick a solo kill on towards Happy, who just dodges away from everything that Marin throws at him. 3 people on top of him. He gets taken down. Rumble will fly to the skies, but they will get a turret for his troubles.
Yeah, they trade mid tower for that. Definitely not an even trade. It does go in LGD's favor, but as I was saying, you do have great siege coming out of a triple AD carry composition from LGD. It's not a good team fight when it comes up against Newbee.
Once again, teams picking on the Rumble, or picking on Marin to be specific against LGD. It seemed like he was stepped a little bit over his boundaries there, missed both the harpoons against Happy, decided to use the equalizer anyway. Really, really wanted that kill. Whalers has been able to pick up his Trinity Force, so he's now heading down to the bottom lane, pick up as many minions as he possibly can. Dragon's coming up in 40 seconds. Whalers does not have his package available yet. We'll still be waiting for that one to come off cooldown.
This is awkward. I think we saw a mispurchase coming out of Jin with the double Dirk. I'm going to have to hope. Maybe there's an item he's looking for that makes it work here. Because I guess, you know what, at the end of the day, that's true. He's going for the, he is going to go up for the, what is it called again? The Drakthar? The Duskblade
of Drakthar?
So he does get the Duskblade and he's going to get the Yomus. He's just trying to split the bill.
I mean, not efficient really, Eraz, but yeah, he's got 2 swords now and a hammer. He can't quite hold all of them. Probably puts them in his gun, shoots them the first 3 shots.
The eternal debate about where you stack your swords.
Okay, he's got a Doran's Blade, he's got the 2 serrated Dirks and the Caulfield's Warhammer. That's his ammunition. You know, Jin only shoots 4 shots.
Ah. It's going to be annoying to have him to pick them back up, though, every single time. That's probably why he has such a long reload
It's not
speed.
great.
Every time he's reloading, he's just picking back his swords up. Yeah.
Wales has been able to go back to base and pick up the package for himself. Uses the movement speed to get himself towards the bottom side of the map, and that signals LGD's time to start up the second dragon of the game. We're able to successfully take the first dragon, which was an Infernal Drake, and now looking for the Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, so right now, Newbee is just, they are just bleeding out these dragons. Not a good idea. Woo!
Whalers diving in downtown to try and get a kill on towards Happy. He's had a few people run into this lane laying the carpets, the red carpets, to try and collapse on top of him. Speaking of which, that's something that LGD have going into this game. They've got 3 awesome carpets to lay down in team fights against Newbee. They've got Brom, they've got Rumble, and they've got Whalers' package as well.
Yeah, a lot of zone control in these team fights. Not even just zone control. Oh my god, go
over
in there.
the wall. Whalers, he's gone over the top. The final rocket's not going to do enough damage. He'll just tank the turret and run around. LGD start a team fight across the map though. Dade jumps straight on top of Marin. Gets charged on by Swift. Equalizer gets put down trying to cut off the team. Swift will go down first. Marin still lives to tell the tale. Imp is chasing down the rest of the team. Mini does come out. It's starting to get spat out by Moore. Whalers wants to join this fight. Puts something together and goes to try to take down everybody else, but he can't get any more kills for Newbee. They will be able to successfully siege the mid lane in the turret instead.
Yeah, so they end up getting the tower at the very least. Down goes Swift, though. It just comes back to the point that Newbee is trying to buy as much time. They really have a stronger team fight, but they can never really get to that point. Every single time, they're just being split up, being zoned down. Jin was not in that fight whatsoever because he did get zeroed in on by Whalers. Looked to get assassinated. He did end up surviving. And the fact that Jin ulti was actually not used to the fight. He used it primarily to to zone away Wayless and get as much chip damage on Wayless. That is not how you want to use it, especially since Jin was able to survive. He should have then walked towards the fight and used his ulti there to at least aid in that sense.
Wayless's aggression was able to help them stop that ultimate from being used in the team fight. Speaking of Wayless, he's not opting to go for the Hextech Gunblade in this game. Instead has picked up the Bilgewater Cutlass, so probably going for the Blade of the Ruined King as his second item on Corki.
Nope, that, my friend.
Oh, he will be going towards the Hextech Gunblade. That's a component.
That is the
I
Hextech
will
Gunblade.
walk away now.
Don't even worry about it. No one builds that item anyways. Unless if you're a great Akali player.
And Katarina. Seen Spawn play that champion a couple of times.
I do not want to see Gunblade Katarina. Not even going to talk about it. Don't even want to see Katarina, to be honest.
Why is that? Katarina's a great champion.
Don't want to hear
Spins
that
around in
from
circles.
No.
Throws daggers at everyone. It hurts.
No.
No? Meanwhile, LGD clear out the wards over towards the Baron Pit. Trying to take control over that as much as they possibly can. Im still farming the mid lane, pushing out the mid lane as much as possible. Getting control of the map for LGD, who are about 5,000 gold up ahead of Newbee 22 minutes into this game. Dane's been caught out a little bit. Intruder's right behind him. Windwall comes out nice and early, but now PYL and Wayless are collapsing on top of him. Does have the minions to get himself to safety. PYL will block the tornado. Swifts around the back though. Dane goes back in, gets exhausted immediately by Wayless, who sidesteps the tornado across the rest of the fight. Swift's going one-on-one against Intruder, but that's not the main fight that's going on, because Myron, he's on top of Dane somewhere across the fight. Swift's taking down Intruder. Dane will fall next. Imp's on top of Swift. He's flashing aggressively forward. Will get eaten up by Moore. Gets the revenge kill for his team. V's trying to go into the fight. There's the critical. Will be able to take down Wayless. And they're looking for even more as PYL gets crit up. Moore's in the back line for a double kill. And Newbee get an ace on towards LGD.
That was incredible. Their position, LGD's position was completely compromised because they were going really hard to get that Yasuo. Yasuo was able to buy so much time. Let's watch it. So much time. The fact that he lived so long. And then once they realize, oh, Wayless is in an awful position. Oh no, Intruder's even worse position. The carries coming through LGD were just zoned out. They were in a position where they were in constant 1v1s, 2v2s, and they couldn't save each other.
Imp was just locked down by Moore this entire time. Speaking of Moore, he was huge in this team fight. Locked down Imp, could only duel with the Tom Kench. Teleports to the back lines, get a double kill onto PYL for his troubles.
Get that lick. Boom. There we go.
He was impressive in this team fight for Newbee.
Yeah, he was about everywhere. That was really good for him. So that was a great team fight for Moore, but specifically that was just so much damage coming from the entirety of Newbee as Newbee is looking to go back to that Baron.
LGD's trying to start up the Baron. They do sweep out the pit, and also Intruder gets the vision control over the side of Baron Pit. LGD did lose that fight. They got ace, but they are still 3,500 gold up ahead of Newbee. Wayless did a lot of damage during that team fight. And we'll be continuing to farm out the jungle on LGD's side of the map. Imp should pick up red buff for himself here. Wayless going to head back to base and pick up a couple of items. You can even see during that team fight, Moore did more damage than Dade. He was an aggressive Tom Kench.
Yeah, I mean, Dade was just trying to survive the entirety of that. I'd be surprised if he got any bit of damage on them. He was just trying to live, trying to get out of there scot-free. Just did not happen.
And there's the Gunblade being picked up by Wayless. Not the Blade of Rune King, which I incorrectly thought it would be. It's top side of the map. Happy getting locked down here by Myron. That's a lot of damage coming from Rumble. Just pummels him one more time with that auto attack. The flaming drill from Myron's going to be able to take him down. And that's the AD carry gone from Newbee.
All right, Happy. How many times do you have to get caught out in the side lane as a Jin?
Wayless has got the package. There's some 10 million pings going down on towards this Corki. They want to make sure he cannot use it to get into an advantageous situation. In fact, has already used that one somewhere across the map while we were taking a look at the top lane kill, which means LGD with 380 carries is going to just push on towards the top lane inner turret, and the only inner turret left standing for Newbee is going to be on the bottom side of the map.
All right, let's play the game of Count the Phantom Dancers. So we got one on Graves, we got one on Yasuo and Sivir. We're seeing a lot of constant damage, we're seeing a lot of crit, and on top of that, seeing a lot of just damage reduction. So it's an interesting purchase for the Graves. There was once upon a time that we did see a lot of Phantom Dance. I guess once you can go Warriors, Graves on top of that. Top lane Graves, best kind of Graves.
Don't know about that, Raz. I think Hurricane Graves is the best kind of Graves. Don't you agree?
SOFM would agree.
Marin now on the bottom side of the map does have his teleport available, so can split push for his team. V's teleport will be back up and online shortly. So now LG look to try and control the Dragon Pit. It is a Cloud Dragon that spawned here, but they want to just control it nonetheless. 5,000 gold up. Looking for a team fight, it seems, against Newbee.
Yeah, although Yasuo does not have his IE, he's right now in the middle of his components for it. This would be a good fight for Newbee. They do have a good enough team fight to be able to put it to work for them. Even though they have the kill advantage, they are behind in gold.
Newbee instead look to try and push down the mid lane out of turret. Collateral damage comes out from Graves to try and stop them from taking it down. Happy uses his final crit shot. He's got no bullets available. It takes a ton of damage. Equalizer into the back lines as Moore has to flash forward to eat him up. V tries to stall this one out, but there's Marin. He's so deep in, trying to light him on fire. Has to use his Onyx Hourglass to stay alive. Meanwhile, Ib has just dealt with the Gnar with ease. Darde's the next target. Happy on no health, trying to put down a Curtain Call. Has to immediately cancel this one, and LGD are relentlessly chasing them down. PYL splashed over the wall. Moore gets locked down out of his ultimate to try and get away from the fight. He's gone. Darde's next. 3 kills for LGD.
They just locked them down one by one, and it started with Happy. Happy should have just walked away, but he puts in his last auto attack on the turret. It separates himself from the rest of the team. So once they really zoned in and looked towards getting... Yeah, exactly. He just couldn't get it with that final crit. But regardless, he shouldn't have zoned into it. And so they targeted him. He had to flash away. He had 1 HP. Sure, he was saved. But at that point in time, the rest of his team was compromised.
He had no bullets. They started a fight. You can't shoot people without bullets, Raz.
Oh, you can't even shoot people if you don't have legs. That's the problem. And he had to flash away. But at that point, he just had nothing. No HP to really work with.
And LGD off the back of that take down the Baron buff. And they're also almost 10,000 gold in the lead over Newbee. The only thing Newbee get off of the back of that is a Cloud Dragon for themselves. And this is do or die for Newbee, because if they lose this match, they have to go up against Starhorn Royal Club in a couple of days.
Yeah, and Starhorn Royal Club are definitely no pushovers. We recognize that team. We talk about them a lot. They have not changed from their old identity of just pushing the button and going in whenever. So the aggression that LGD is showcasing today is probably going to be multiplied with the Starhorn Royal Club.
I'm checking in with Wayless' Corki here. He's decided to go for a Haunted Guise as the second item. Lots of magic penetration coming out from Corki. Sword attacks do deal 50-50 damage from attack damage and magic damage, and also his abilities deal a ton of magic and attack damage too. Speeding that one up quite nicely.
It's interesting. Last time we saw him go for this, he did go for the Void Staff. So this is going to have a lot more impact because he is going against a much larger of a front line. So the percentage HP damage going through is going to be nice.
Marin getting jumped on by Swift here that gets tagged by the Deadly Flourish as well. He doesn't care though. Just casually walks away. And during this time, LGD do what they need to do and take down the bottom lane inner turret for himself. Marin, he thinks it's an 80 carry. He's taking down red buff, just trying to counter jungle wherever he possibly can, because all that's left standing between LGD's return to the LPL is the base of Newbee, because that's all Newbee have left.
I mean, what did Marin do to Newbee for them to actually have to allocate just about 3 people to just push him while they lost their bot tower?
Marin asked the same question about every single team. They just put so many resources into trying to take him down every single time. As now Newbee's base is getting sieged by a 5-man strong LGD, trying to get chip damage off at this turret any single chance they get. Marin heads back into the mid lane, goes split push duty against Dade, who goes in with the ultimate onto Intruder, puts down the wind roll as well as the exhaust. V's about to turn Mega. Marin is stuck there, take a lot of damage, but they blow up Swift and move straight into the base of Newbee. Curtain Call comes out, straight lays down the red carpet to lock them down. Moore's in trouble, he's lit on fire, the Toad is dead, Gnar is next, the prehistoric animals take it down as Imp gets that kill. It's 3 big picks for LGD, and they're marching into Newbee's base. They can taste it here, Raz. All that separates them are these 2 Nexus turrets for their return into the LPL. They've taken down one. Dade's coming in to try and defend. He's slicing back and forth. He gets taken down by PYL, and they've done it, Raz. LGD have secured their spot in the 2017 spring split of the LPL.
They're falling over, man. Fish, they're really doing it. They're back in the LPL. That was such a rough set for Newbee. They fought back, though. They shouldn't feel too down for themselves because they went up against a team in LGD that they've shown a lot of great things recently. And so now they're going to have to go up against Starhorn Royal Club. And I think they can do it.
Huge props for Newbee because exactly that, Raz. We wrote them off coming into this game. We thought that, you know, they've been on a slump for a long time. Coming into this match, it should have been LGD's show, but they took game 1 and surprised everyone. Game 3 was Newbee's game to win as well, but LGD fought back, had a clinical game 2, a comeback in game number 3, and game 4 was also a clinical match from LGD picking up the win here. And congratulations to LGD. They now secured their spot coming back into the LPL next year.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was a really great set coming from LGD. I think they showed a lot of great things, but at the same time, little bit of weaknesses, right? And those weaknesses were hidden because they definitely out-team fought a lot of times. So that was really nice from them.
Certainly was. Newbee still looked very strong. Unfortunately, they had a few really interesting team compositions, how they threw everything in the bottom lane in game number 3. Game number 4 pulled out the Yasuo that looked great for Dane to start things off. Just execution felt a little bit better from LGD in the matches they won.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the Yasuo pick, you do want to look for those scraps, those nice team fights. They got a few of them, but the problem is they just lost their towers. They constantly got sieged in on by the triple AD carry composition, and then so it just came down to where they tried to fight, they couldn't.
And LGD's map rotation looked great, especially in that final game, because every single time they took down the first turret, moved to another turret, took that down, and even though the kills were even between the two teams, LGD's objective control was phenomenal throughout the entire series.
Yeah, so it just really came back to the dragon fights. Every single time they looked for those dragons, they had the positioning right, and they challenged Newbee to look to fight them. And if they could get that fight, then it would work really well for LGD. It just really came down to it.
Still must be feeling brutal for these two teams, though, because LGD, they had a late playoff run. They were so close from taking that spot away from Vici. Vici did perform really well. Now they're heading into towards the quarterfinals of the LPL. Newbee, exact same story. It was their playoff to take. They clinched the spot. In Invictus Gaming had a late playoff run and picked up a couple of really crucial games to get back into it, but Newbee were not able to. Now they face a final match to see if they can make it back into the LPL. For now, though, we can check in with the results that we see taking place here today. First up, it was OMG taking a 3-0 victory over Saint and knocking Saint out of the LPL and back into the LSPL.
Yeah, very dominating win for OMG on that one.
And last but not least, we saw LGD taking on Newbee. LGD with a 3-1 victory after dropping the first game to Newbee. They're able to re-qualify for the LPL next year.
A back-and-forth set for both teams there.
Gives us a chance to take a look at the current bracket for the promotion tournament. Saint have been eliminated and heading into the LSPL. OMG will take on Young Miracle in a couple of days to see who will get that spot in the LPL and who will drop back down into the LSPL. Newbee will be taking on Starhorn Royal Club in a couple of days after LGD's victory here tonight for the exact same thing.
Yeah, here comes our new challengers right now in both of these teams. We'll see how it works out.
And we can check in with the LPL Summer Playoffs. Currently, Vici will be taking on Team WE tomorrow. IMA will be taking on Snake as well, whereas EDG and RNG are still waiting in that first seed spot to try and take down the victors of those two matches. And speaking of exactly that, we'll be able to take a look at tomorrow's matches, which will be those two games.
Yeah, exactly. It really just comes down to who can take it.
And first up, it is going to be Snake Esports taking on IMA in the first match of the day, whereas Team WE take on the victors of that last match will be Vici Gaming.
Yeah, so the playoffs are looking to be very interesting. IMA did demolish IG in a nice finish, really.
Yeah, they did, Raz. What happened there? Because in Victus Gaming were looking really strong, weren't they?
I think you asked me that question a little while ago, and I just batted off. Not going to answer. But yeah, IMA is looking incredible right now, and on top of that, Vici is looking even better. So it's going to be interesting to see how Vici versus WE handle, because I think that could be a very good set.
Yep, the playoff buff has definitely been affecting a few teams leading into playoffs. One team that doesn't usually get this playoff buff, though, is going to be playing tomorrow, and that's going to be Snake Esports. Normally look really strong heading into it. Hopefully be able to see them pull off a win there tomorrow. For now, though, we can check back in with the MVP for that fourth and final game between LGD as well as Newbee. It's going to go over towards Marin on his performance on Gnar up in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I always love Marin's Gnar.
Rumble, not Gnar.
Yeah, what the hell? All right, now I'm a little suspect. The person who did that in production is going to be sweating a little bit, but there we go. His Marin was incredible, as he did burn that Gnar. So yeah, he played that game fairly well. He did get picked off one time, but of course that's like inevitable if you're a Rumble player. and he just demolished them.
It's inevitable if you are Mar in the jungle. I think he gets picked off multiple times. He's had a Rumble game where he went 1-8 and still won that match for LGD when they were still fighting to keep their playoff dreams alive. But congratulations to LGD. They will be returning into the LPL next year and hopefully be able to see them return much stronger because they did have a very shaky start to the summer split as well as their spring split in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, for both teams, they really had another goal of looking towards getting to Worlds, right? LGD, a team that have gone to Worlds, that's their standard. They tried to go to the playoffs, and of course, they lost their points, couldn't get there.
And I believe the team they knocked out heading into Worlds was Newbee. They came down to that last and final match, which did eliminate Newbee from heading into the grand finals once they were when they were previously Chao Gu.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. It really it's always nice to see how that works out, honestly.
Certainly was, but congratulations to LGD. They are able to pick up their spot in next split of the LPL. Newbee will still have a match to play against Thăng hạng Royal to see if they can get back into it. But that's the end of the broadcast here tonight. On behalf of myself, Raz, our production crew, and our entire shoutcasting team, thank you guys so much for watching. But before we leave, we want to show you guys a snippet of a video that we're going to be airing tomorrow at 2:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be the journey of FZOFM from the Wildcard region all the way into the LPL. Here's a teaser of that. I hope you guys like it.